from my perspective, just because just working in AI, I'm looking at the long-term vision. I see us humans and AI systems as really the same, and AI systems ultimately as something that supersedes humans.
So what is intelligence?
So in the context of our current discussion, I think intelligence is very closely linked to this notion of ideas. And it's the ability to generate ideas, to mold ideas, to compress seeming chaos into some model, into some theory that efficiently compresses the chaos in a way where you can then integrate it with other ideas and they can play and all those kinds of things. So in that sense, it's the turning chaos into order. It's the molding of ideas such that our human brains can work with it. And it just, from my perspective, I don't see any reason why that cannot be algorithmatized, converted into computational systems.
I would agree.
Which is scary.
Scary or potentially really promising, right? It's kind of the case with all novelty. It's terrifying as much as it is promising. That's why you're pursuing it so heavily. But I would maybe take it a step further and say that intelligence, in maybe its most simplistic form, is error correction. So humans have wants. Again, we're constantly expressing our value through action. There's no other way to express it, by the way. It's whatever you choose to do in any moment, you are expressing the values you hold in your mind and your heart. As we move from less valued A to more valued B, entropy happens, uncertainty happens, we fall off course. And it is intelligence that enables us to render information from that experience and error correct, right? So that we can move slightly, shift our trajectory slightly more towards B that we're trying to move towards. So I think that there's something there that I don't know that we can make synthetically, and that when if we define intelligence as error correction, it's like error correction to what? It's error correction towards what we find is valuable.
Right.
So we're trying to satisfy human wants. Might not just be our own, could be others as well. If I'm an entrepreneur, I'm trying to solve the wants of others, not just myself. And I'm trying to error correct myself towards that goal, using intelligence and processing environmental feedback through intelligence to error correct. So I don't know how, if you eliminate the human element completely, who's doing the wanting, right? Where does value come from?
I know machine learning people who are listening are saying that's exactly what machine learning is, which is error correction, because you have a loss function, objective function that measures how wrong your thing is, and you want to make it less wrong next time. That's the whole process of machine learning. But you're saying what humans are able to do is, in a world where there's no maybe objective values, absolute values, you're generating that very loss function, that objective function, that function that measures the error comes from the human mind. Some aliens might disagree with you because they might have a different objective function.
I just say purpose comes from consciousness, I think. And without purpose, there's not error correction.
Yeah. I mean, this is, again, a hypothesis. Like, where does purpose come from? It seems to come from consciousness. You're right. That's where suffering comes from, and you want to lessen suffering. That's where pleasure comes from. It seems like it's consciousness. Maybe there is something to this biological meat bag.